Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Good Wednesday evening. It is Wednesday, March the 9th, 2022. And welcome to another amazing episode and edition of Dialogues with Doc. Listen, I hope that you guys are doing amazing on this Wednesday. It's been a rainy day here in the DMV, but we are pushing through this thing. It literally rains all day, but we are good over here. I just want to say how happy I am to be back with you guys. I am fresh off of an amazing birthday celebration. So, thank you guys so much for supporting me and allowing me to take last week off to just do some more recuperating and kind of get back to myself because there was a lot going on as I celebrated with my boys in Cartagena for my 42nd birthday. So yes, I am 42. Yes, God has been kind, and I am thankful for the years that I have been able to this live and walk on this earth. So listen, tonight I am back with another amazing episode and edition of Dialogues with Doc. I hope that your week has been going well. Hope that all is well with you and your family. We are still in this pandemic and we are suffering from crazy gas prices right now. So I'm going to pull out this bike over here and do some more riding as needed to maybe save some gas here and there. Listen, I have missed you guys. It has been a crazy couple of weeks since the last time I met with you guys, but a lot of great things have been happening for the show. A lot of more amazing guests have been locked in and loaded for future episodes of Dialogues with Doc. I've also gone back to the audio side, and I have added some more shows to the podcast. You can find the Dialogues with Doc podcast, the straight audio version of this show on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, and on Anchor. So please go over to those streaming platforms. You can download about 8 episodes that I have listed there. Former shows that I have went back and re-uploaded for the audio version of Dialogues with Doc. So I'm so excited to be able to do that and continue to provide more amazing content and have more amazing guests that are coming on in the near future. Tonight's sponsor for the show is the Dialogues with Doc podcast. Again, that podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, on Anchor, and on Spotify. And if you want to sponsor an episode of Dialogues with Doc, it can be a one-time sponsorship. It can be a month-long sponsorship. It can be a 3-month sponsorship or even a 1-year sponsorship. Simply email me at drcalvin.green@gmail.com, and I would love to get you out some information to help support you and have you sponsor on the show as well. Y'all got to pray for me tonight. I am really going to do my best of trying to manipulate this show with these retainers in my mouth. So I'm really trying to enunciate and make sure my E's are coming out as well as my I's and everything else. So yeah, I am doing my best. Y'all pray for your boy. Also, if you want to, everyone has asked me about supporting about birthday gifts. So if you guys want to support me as far as still giving birthday gifts, I am still taking them willingly and acceptingly. For those who don't know, I do this show each and every week out of my own pocket. So if you want to show some support financially, you can use the cash app below, $I am Doc Verde, to help cover some of the costs if you want. You can sponsor some things as well and things like that to help keep this show up and going each and every week. For those of you who are new to the family, thank you for watching. For those of you who've been here from day one, thank you. This show was birthed in the middle of the pandemic. August of 2020, I wanted to provide a platform to just talk about a host of different topics. And tonight adds to that toolbox of different topics that I have had dialogues and discussions about. If you've been with me since day one, we've done parenting in a pandemic. We did pastoring in a pandemic. I had black male educators, black female educators. For a moment, I was in my parenting bag. So we had foster parents on 1 week. Then 1 week, I got a little pose inspired and had a house mother on here to talk about parenting from a different lens. So my show's for everybody. I don't have a niche. I just want to talk about any and everything under the sun that God provided me an opportunity to bring light and more communication and dialogue about. I've done a fitness show. Unfortunately, this brother that's joining me tonight, I'm going to have to redo the fitness show again and get him on there as well because he's doing his thing in that regard. I had my brother Darren on with me a couple of weeks ago. Hey, Darren, we talked about him and his journey of getting more black men to go to the doctor. because he was diagnosed with renal disease during the pandemic. So we're following his journey each and every day. Brother, I am definitely praying for you each and every day. You guys know how this show goes. If you're watching, let me know where you're watching from. I want to give you a shout out. I'm going to hold it down tonight. And I don't got to hold it down by myself or the whole DMV, because the DMV is in the building. My guest is residing in the DMV. So we're going to hold it down for the DC, the Maryland, the Virginia, wherever you're watching from. Let me know. I want to shout you guys out as we get ready to jump into tonight's show. Tonight's show is no different. We have a couple house rules. Nothing has changed but the year, and I've gotten a year older. The rules are still the same for the house. Like, comment, share, subscribe. It's that simple. Like, comment, share, and if you're on the YouTube channel, definitely subscribe to the channel. My guests are more than willing to share their wealth of knowledge. So as we're having our dialogue, if you want to ask questions, put those in the chat. I do not mind putting those up and getting some input and some insight from my guests as well as we move through tonight's show. With all that being done and said and out the way, I'm going to get ready to bring my amazing guests on. Of course, you guys know this is Dialogues with Doc. I can only do this the right way. So I have to bring my guests on the right way. So if you give me 1 second, I'm going to bring my guests on, and we will be right back in just a second. I got my brother in the building. What's going on, man?
What's going on, bro? How are you?
Man, I am great. I am great, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed.
But you're running. Do me a favor. Turn the phone to the side so we get the full.
Okay. Is this all right?
There we go.
Is good?
Now, is that good for you?
Yeah, it's cool. Cool for me as long as it's cool for you.
Okay. Fix it. We can get you.
It's a little lopsided.
Be able to see. Well, you know what?
Is that better?
Put it back like you had. We're gonna rock
like
it how you had it at first.
All right.
Yeah, it makes you look taller. There you go. Okay. We're gonna rock it that way. Made my brother look taller. So, brother, thank you for running and joining me tonight. I know I had to probably interrupt your flow, so I
no, you cool. You cool. Thank you for having me.
Man. No, thank you. Thank you for saying yes. So we're just gonna have our own dialogue, and the people are invited to just jump in and hear our discussion, and we're gonna have a good time tonight doing this thing. I just want to just start off by asking you to tell the people a little bit about you before we jump into this amazing dialogue on tonight.
Okay. Well, my name is Colby. I'm 36. Just actually moved to the DMV area.
Don't give them too much.
Oh,
because I'm gonna tap into that move. So don't.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Greenville, South Carolina. I'm a country boy, born and raised. Resided in Charlotte for a number of years, but all I know is the South. Just a Southern church boy at heart. But I'm just a cool guy, just open to new experiences, and I guess that's who I am.
That's it in a nutshell, y'all. But this brother, I had to have him on. He has an amazing story, and we're gonna dive into this thing on tonight. So, brother, thank you for saying yes. I have generated some questions, nothing too hard that you can't handle.
Okay.
I'm just gonna continue. I'm just gonna continue what we started last week when we connected and hung out. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you talked about this move that you made to the DMV. So you recently made what I want to call a faith move during this pandemic. So let's talk about this faith move you made.
Well, it definitely was a faith move. When the pandemic hit, I've always had a desire to move. I always knew, even with my move to Charlotte, it was a faith move. I was, again, like I said, born and raised in Greenville, South Carolina. Great town, but it was just not for me. I felt like I reached my potential, and even in moving to Charlotte, I heard God say, it's time to move. even got into a new industry, a financial industry that I was not a part of, and went on faith. That was 6 years ago. And within the pandemic, I made some life decisions, and I thought the move was to Texas. Actually got a whole job in 2020 to Dallas, Texas with a financial firm there. And I got the job, got the acceptance letter. This was, I think, in April of 2020. And that's when the surge happened in Texas, the major surge, and they froze everything. I had an apartment. I was a week away from moving, and it all went to a screeching halt. And I was crushed. I was sad. I didn't know, what to do. Just became discouraged, but not knowing that God had a bigger plan and that DC was the move. So a couple of months ago, I said, you know what? I'm going to make the move. So it literally took me a month to find the place I wanted to move to. I did it, and I'm up here. When my job sent an email out, and the biggest issue was my job. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's really hard to get in the financial sector up here in DC. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? But our CEO sent an email and said, work from anywhere. We're embracing a new culture. That was my green light. That was my answer from God. And a month after that email, I found a place to stay, and I moved up here. So, yeah.
I'm over here writing notes, brother. I'm not being weird. I'm always writing.
Yeah,
God had a bigger plan. I
He
thought of
did.
places, and in the midst of everything else happening, I'm from Dallas, a surge out of nowhere, just happened completely, and basically shut Texas down. Call him Governor. He made him real mad, and God said, let me redirect you. You may think Texas is on your itinerary, but on the destiny, you got to go through DC instead. So I love how you said that God had a bigger plan, because sometimes we think we have it mapped out and we have it thought out, and then God throws a curveball, i.e., a boss saying you can work virtually from anywhere. Oh, that's that's what I've been looking for. I'm looking thinking this door A and this door B, C, or D. So I love how you said that, man. In this move, Colby, what has been your greatest lesson from this faith move thus far?
That to never put limitations on yourself or on God. There's always a bigger picture working behind the scenes. God is always working behind the scenes. And I think sometimes we get discouraged when what we think and what we feel is best for us does not work out, when we didn't create us. We were there, when he breathed into us and when he created us, but we were not coherent in his mind, what he had planned out and walked out for us. So sometimes we don't even know what's best for ourselves. We think we know. So it's just not getting stuck in my own wants, but truly understanding that God knows what's best for me, and that his plan is always better. So that's been kind of the lesson for these last few months that I've been up here.
And you haven't even made 6 months yet, have you?
No, it's been 3 months.
It may feel like it, but no.
Yeah. It definitely feels like it, but no.
So when you look at your life and you look at this faith move, this is another faith move that you make, and you said Shauna was a faith move as well. How do you determine what your philosophy is on how you handle life each day? Each day presents a new opportunity or a new challenge. But how does Colby handle life each day? What's his philosophy with regards to that?
It's honestly, it's an old song. My grandmother used to sing in the church, one day at a time. Sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking you. But no, it's literally one day at a time. Like literally, even with my weight loss process, it was one day at a time. I'm learning that major moments happen with little moments every single day to get to that major move. But literally, it's taking it day by day, not putting unnecessary expectations on that one day. because a lot of times we get up and the day is we're overwhelmed by the overall pressures of us becoming this and us becoming that, and this is not being fulfilled when it's a distraction. But if we just handle each day with the blessing and with the problems that it may come, and just handle it every day, eventually we'll look up and see that I'm in a better place than I thought I was. So my philosophy every day is to stay focused and just go with the day. Make the best of the day and do what I can in that day, at the end of the day, at the end of the night, to say, did I do everything I needed to do to make this day successful?
And you're becoming very popular via social media.
Little old me, no.
And what I mean, that's rightfully just blessed to be alive. I'm thinking about
Yes.
it from the lens of you will post something inspirational, just you having a moment, and just I don't want to say venting, but just pouring out, and people will just repost. So that's what I mean by popular. Like, people look to you for some type of encouragement or something like that, and you're like, I'm just sharing my heart, or I'm just sharing my random thoughts, and people just latch onto it, and I love that. From the lens of, with all these faith moves and life in general, I always like to do just kind of a social emotional check-in with my brothers on the show as well. So just based off of what you've gone through in life, have you ever had to deal with any mental health challenges as a Black male? I know I'm seeing a lot of these memes and stuff like that coming up every day of, 1 in 5 Black men have had to deal with. So, and including myself, I've been in that category as well. But just kind of a check for me to make sure I'm able to check in and check on my brothers as well. So if you have them like to share, please do it. If not, I totally understand.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I definitely have. I've had to deal with mental health challenges even since this move. I didn't realize, I wonder why everybody was like, oh, this is a major move. Are you okay? It kind of hit me these last few weeks, and I had to reach back out to my therapist that I had back in 2020 when I first was losing weight. So absolutely, mental health I have to deal with that all the time. And I think ultimately it's the people who do encourage, because a lot of people think the encouragers is basically a sign that they have everything they need, so they're just putting out. But no, this is a calling. People are called to encourage. People are called to inspire. It's a calling, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are encouraged. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Just because you teach or you know what I'm saying, doesn't mean that you have what you need. It's just who you are. You're a teacher. You're a preacher. You're in. You whatever. But that doesn't mean you are right. Have what you need. Wow. So yeah, definitely. And oftentimes, it's sometimes harder on the encourager because you hold yourself at a different standard. Because when you do have those moments of mental health, you kind of feel like you kind of feel like you're lying to the people. Right. Like, is life really worth living? You kind of feel like you're telling people a lie. You're selling a lie because you yourself are discouraged, and I'm encouraging them. So at times, yeah, you have to battle that and say, at the end of the day, life is worth living. Things will get better, because ultimately there has not been one storm that has taken me out. Not one storm. I've been on this earth for 36 years. I've gone through a million storms. And as tough as that storm felt in the moment, I can stand here today that I got through it. So that means to tell me, if history is correct, there is no storm in my future that I will go through that's not too big that God won't bring me out.
You better come on here.
So yeah.
we flow on this show. So if you feel the
oh no. Oh no! I didn't come to preach. You know how they say. I didn't come to preach you. I didn't come to preach.
No, when you're doing it, so I'm gonna let you step back. So brother, I was trying to remember when I told you last week how we even connected. How we connected through social media, and we were together. I said, "Yo, I remember." First of all, the Instagram handle took me out. I'm like, I said, this brother here. I said, we gonna be good friends. We were
Oh,
good friends, and that was after I came across it. I guess it was like, I guess someone was, I called it VSG shaming on social media, and you let them have
mm,
from the
oh,
from the from a pure unapologetic place. And I was like,
yeah.
I want to find out more about this brother and this journey. And I know many people are
Hmm.
probably going to be watching now, because now we're going to get into the meat of what I want to talk about tonight. And this VSG shaming is so problematic for me on so many levels.
Mm.
But I want to just start from here and ask you, what made Colby decide I want to take the VSG journey?
Well, what made me decide that is that I had to come to the realization that if I did not do something with my weight, I would not live to see 40. It was a life and death situation, and I had to kind of realize that. My decision was made, it was a couple of years, it was 2019, at Bishop T.D. Jakes Leadership Conference in Tampa, Florida.
Mhm.
It was very hot. It was in the summertime, and the hotel, like most conferences, you get a hotel that's close to the venue and you walk there. So literally it was a block away. And I was about the youngest person, one of the youngest people in the whole in the group that I was with. And to see me struggle to even walk a mile away, it took me like 30 minutes just to walk down the street. I was sweating. My back was in pain. It was almost like I had to get a wheelchair. It was just horrible. It was embarrassing. And I realized how I was just letting life pass me by because I was dealing with pain. I had high blood pressure, diabetes, sleep apnea, just a lot of things. But I realized it was a life and death situation, and I had to get a handle on my health because health is wealth.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where um, it's such a hot topic out there, and there are
Hmm.
so many misconceptions about the surgery and the pre-work. Can we talk about the pre-work for a second, and then talk about the
Hmm.
misconceptions? Because people think that just anybody qualifies for it, and you have
Hmm.
anybody get it, but there's some pre-work that goes into it. So can you describe? Let's talk about the pre-work first, and then we'll go into misconceptions about the procedure.
Sure. Well, I think there's two pre-works. There's a personal pre-work, and then there's the required pre-work.
Mhm.
For me personally, I chose not. I did not want to have the surgery. I ran away from it because my doctor been talking about the surgery for a while.
Wow.
I actually lost 100 pounds in my mid 20s by myself. So I was always. It was that male part of me that's like, I'm gonna do it on my own. I'm a man. I can do it on. I've done it before. I'm gonna do it again. And so I've tried. It wasn't like this was an easy way out, like others, seem to think. It wasn't a impromptu, decision. It wasn't a quick decision. This has been a life of up and down, weights and going, obesity up and down. It's a life of dieting, of going in and out of different type of diets, just a depressed life. So it's been a process for me. And for years, I thought I could do it on my own. But the actual process is a year. Like I had to go, it was ridiculous. Like I probably had 20 doctor's appointments a month I had to go to. I had to see a nutritionist. I had to see a dietitian. I had to see my regular doctor. I had to see the gastric bypass doctor. I had to go through therapy. So go to group sessions. So it's a major process even to get qualified to have the surgery. So it's not just a easy way out or just something you can just wake up and say I'm gonna do, unless you're a millionaire and you can afford to do that and you have the resources. But I ain't there yet.
And brother, that's what I feel like is one of the biggest misconceptions. That people have no idea all the things you have to go through just to qualify. Then once
Right.
you qualify, like you said, there's a pre-work mentally and a pre-work physically that you have to go through just to
Hmm.
even make it to the thumbs up process. So we talk
Right.
about other misconceptions. Like, what are some other misconceptions that people think just from having the surgery, this is what's going to happen, and it doesn't?
Hmm. I think I think, especially in the Black community and in Black men, I think it's just that you will be seen like you're taking the easy way out. We as Black people feel some type of way that you get a badge just because you go the hard way. And that is bondage. And I think it's from slavery. And we really need to let that go. Whether I got there the easy way or the hard way, we both got here. That's the bottom line. So I think that we take pride sometimes of doing it the hard way. I did it the hard way. We have a misconception that this is the easy way out. And then the other misconception is, which one of the reasons why I work so hard in the gym, is that you're going to look a certain way if you had gastric bypass or the sleeve, that you're going to look dumpy, that you're going to have to look, a certain way because you're losing rapid weight at a certain time. And there are people who do that because they don't do the work out after surgery. So there's a lot of misconceptions also that it's dangerous. Of course, any surgery is dangerous, but they do these surgeries. The doctor may do 20 a month. It's a very common surgery now. There's a lot of tools out there. There's a lot of knowledge. So all of those are misconceptions about the surgery.
And one thing I found out too is that there are a lot of companies that initially they would not cover the surgery. A lot of companies are now covering it for people, and that's actually a good thing as well, because while many people think it's so expensive, many employers are now putting it into their health plans as some form. I'm not sure where, but I know people personally who have gotten the procedure done through their employer, and it wasn't as expensive as they initially priced it out, because the employer covers some of the costs, which makes it a whole lot easier as well. So that's another misconception of it may not be as expensive as people think it is.
Well, it is expensive, but you are correct. I only paid $100, and the surgery was $20,000.
Come on, guys.
So I paid $100 deductible, and I paid $200 deductible, and you got to pay $100 to get into the gastric program that they provide. But my surgery was $20,000. But it's even if you're on government assistance, there is a process for you to get approved for the surgery. So there's no excuse in regards to it being overpriced. You can get the resources to get it.
Now, brother, I'm gonna take you back. You said 2019. It's now 2022. So how long did you contemplate having this procedure before you finally did it?
When it was 2019, I think it was the beginning of 2019. So beginning of 2019, I actually acknowledged that I needed the help. And reached out to my main physician, and they got the ball rolling, I think March of 2019. And I was in the process until then, until December of 2019 when I had the surgery. So about a year, almost a year, a little less than a year.
Now you get approved. They give you a thumbs up. You've done everything. But was there still any hesitancy from your end? Like, yeah, I got the approval, but okay, God, God, do I not? Like, you got the thumbs up, and then was it like a roadblock where you just like, let's do it?
Yeah, it was. I've never had surgery prior to this surgery. So that was a fear issue of me, never having surgery. So I was not familiar with the whole process. I didn't know if it was going to hurt great, and it's something that you can't undo. The surgery I had, the gastric bypass, they're literally cutting my stomach away. I didn't get the sleeve where they shorten, like they actually cut my stomach. So it's something that I can't wake up and say, no, do it. Give me my stomach back. No, this is permanent. And hey, brother Josh. I'm sorry. But yeah, it was definitely. But yeah, it definitely was fear on that end that, I'm doing something I can't undo, and it's my first time having surgery. And also the fear of how my body's going to respond. I didn't know how my body was going to look afterwards. I didn't know if I was going, even the food addiction. I didn't know if I was going to gain the weight back. I just didn't know a lot of things. So yeah.
So you said food addiction. So you shared something with me last week.
Yes.
About food addiction. He said to folks about this sheet cake, because I was like,
yeah, the sheet cake.
My brother said before, look, I don't want to mix some words. You tell him.
I'll tell my own story. Listen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll start from the beginning. Long story short, I had a crazy food addiction. It started from childhood. My grandmother raised me, Hattie Sue Knuckles. So she raised me. She was a cooker. She was Big Mama. She, you
Leslie,
know,
it's real, Leslie.
yeah, she's Big Mama on Sundays. Everybody come to her house. You know, she was the cooker or whatever. But she also she worked and everything. But she was old school where she didn't show affection. She didn't tell. She never said I loved you, but she took care of me. And she loved me through food. So in the morning, I had everything. I had before school, I had salmon croquettes, I had grits, eggs, bacon, fat back, homemade biscuits, fresh. She squeezed her own orange juice, fresh orange juice. You know, if you, we had it. You know, and then she packed me a lunch, and then when I got home, I didn't have dinner. I had an afternoon late brunch. It was food, you know, that she had, and then you know every night it was pork chops. It was Sunday dinner every night. And she kept a pound cake on the stove. We call it sweet bread. She kept it a pound cake on the stove 24/7. So she never said I love you, but it was food that said I love you. Even when I went off to college, she would give me casseroles, stacks of casseroles to put in the freezer. You know, so I equated love with eating, with food. So when I got older, even with situations where it was happy, it was sad, whatever the emotion was, I celebrated that motion or coped it. Hi, Leslie. Coped it with food. And whether it was a promotion at the job, I went and got food. Whether it was a emotional day, I went and got food. And it was to the point where I would go to McDonald's and get two Big Mac meals, two large fries, and I would get two drinks so that they would think it was for two different people. And I would sit, I wouldn't even wait to get home. I would sit, it was the one next to the Walmart. I would sit in Walmart and eat that. And then I would go to the Publix and I would in advance order a sheet cake, a whole sheet cake for a birthday party that nobody was going to. It was going to my house, and I would eat that sheet cake all weekend long. I'm just gonna leave that out. I would eat the sheet cake all weekend long on my own. And it was just I would eat, I would be full, and I would just eat, 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 just to feel love, just to feel satisfied, just to cope the depression and the pain. And I would seclude myself and just eat all weekend long.
Wow.
Yeah,
People don't realize the struggles and things that people go through just to make it. And like you said,
right.
I would do this and just be so content, and no one really
Hmm.
what I was dealing with or what I was going through. And then I started to see all of these things happening in the world, and then the sleeve comes out, and other
Hmm.
options come out as well. And so Kobe decides to jump on the bandwagon and make the change for the better for my life. And we talked about this last week. Everyone just looks at it as just losing weight, but it's more than just weight. We talked about
Oh,
this last
so much
week.
more.
So let's talk about that. Where you look at it as the
Hmm.
weight is so much more that I'm shedding and I'm dropping that I'm going through. So let's go there for a little bit.
Yeah, the weight is, and as I was telling you last week, the weight is basically just physical manifestation of issues unresolved.
Mhm.
The weight is physical manifestation of issues unresolved for me. It was heavy. The weight mentally, emotionally, it was heavy. And I was carrying that for years, and I thought life was just heavy. So my approach to life, it was emotional weight, absolutely. My life was just heavy, and I thought life was just bad. Life was just hard. And I really never, I really never, prior to losing weight, stopped to see what does Kobe want. I never even thought that I was worthy enough to ask myself that question.
Wow.
So even prior to losing weight, when I was 400 plus pounds and 300 and something pounds, my life was dedicated to everyone else. Even with my grandmother and others, my life was to be what they wanted me to be. And I never just had the time to stop and say, Colby, is this what you want? But losing the weight, it was two things. It was not only did I have the weight loss surgery, but it happened during the pandemic. And I think God set that up strategically for me. And even the George Floyd thing, it woke me up a little bit because we're both tall Black men. It could have been me.
Listen,
So all of that in one, just kind of me, fixing myself and taking care of myself and seeing the potential that I had when I was losing weight and gaining the muscle. You begin to see the potential that's in you. I, for the first time in my life, stopped and said, Kobe, what do you want? Who do you want to be?
yeah,
Where do you want to be in life? And that led me through a path of emotional. I had to go back and deal with trauma. I had to, through my therapist, had to go back and deal with why did I allow people to diminish me? Why do I allow people to talk down to me? Why did I allow people to control my life?
right.
Why did I feel like I did not have a say so in my life, that I was not worthy? And it was mentally challenging. And not only that, the decisions that I made afterwards to take control of my life. Um, was mentally draining as well, because I don't care who you are, after you have weight loss surgery or after you make a major life transition, people will be different in your life. Your ride or dies will be different. I
Yeah,
don't care what you say. If you're in a relationship, it will change,
yeah.
because sometimes people get used to you being the lesser one.
Uh-huh.
Because oftentimes there's two things that happen. They're used to you being the lesser one, which makes them the bigger one, or your progress intimidates their stagnation.
That's good.
It makes them understand. It basically puts in their face, dang, I need to do something with my life. And then two, people don't like change. People do not like to change their perception of who you are. People are lazy. And so when you've changed who you are, it makes them have to get a new revelation of who you are, and people don't want to do that. I know who you are. I know what you do. I know who you've been. You're going to go back to who you are, because that's another thing. People will try to make you feel like you're going to regress or go back to who you are, and they will handle you in that manner. No, no, no. You can't handle me from prior surgery,
Yeah.
because I'm a new man. Mentally, I put in the work to be a new person, to be the person God created and not the person you wanted to create for
Mr.
your comfortability.
Your comfortability. That's the
Yes. Yes.
boy. Leslie. My God. Yeah. Leslie's my sister. She's gone through this journey. She
I know Leslie. I know Leslie.
you know who don't
I
know
know
that?
Leslie from church.
That's my girl.
Yes. I know on Facebook. Yes.
That is
She's
my
done an amazing job as well. She
listen.
looks awesome.
Both of y'all out here killing it. You talked about people remembering the old you. So let's go here for a
Mhm.
second. As you go through this journey, can you talk about the power of connecting with the right people and energies?
Yes, absolutely. I think ultimately, when you put in the work, God will do the connecting.
Uh-huh.
When I tell you, this was 2020. We weren't going nowhere. I wasn't even going to the gym. I was going working out outside. So I had no way of connecting other than social media. But honestly, social media is what it is. Nothing go on outside of the interactions there. And I'm a kind of an introvert person. So, um, but when I tell you, when you put in the work and when you take care of yourself, God will connect you to the people that need to be in your life.
That is it.
And if not, no, and I had to give that because people are like, well, people are only contacting you now because you look good, and you got muscle and you do. I said, no, 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 no. People are attracted to confidence. People are attracted to people who have life within them, people who have a future, people who have hope, and that's what the attraction is. It's not just because of my appearance, but it's because of what I exude. And when I tell you, God has really given me that in relationship, in friendships, in so much. God makes the connections, absolutely. And also God weeds out.
Mhm.
God weeds out. And a lot of times we try to hold on to it. And it's not necessarily that we have to write people off, excuse me, we have to write people off, but we sometimes have to allow life and God to recategorize relationships.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? We have to recategorize and be okay with that and not be take offense to that. So it was two things happening. God was recategorizing relationships and weeding out, and he was also connecting all at the same time. And I was not trying to make my own connections. I was just working on myself, and God was doing all of that in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just a dot. He just starts connecting them from all over the place.
Listen,
I'm
your
just
job Listen, your job is to work on you.
yeah.
If you stay in your lane, I promise you everything else will fall in place. And that's the problem. We don't stay in our lane. And our lane is to take care of ours and us. And I promise you, as a response of us, because listen, we are God's creation.
Mhm.
We are God's creation. How dare you mess over his creation? And we talk about that externally, about treating each other right and treating each other with respect. But God is sitting there looking like you're treating my creation like trash because you won't take care of yourself. You keep accepting toxic relationships. You keep allowing that to happen in your life. No, 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 no. Take this time to deal with you, to learn how powerful you are, to
Yeah.
build yourself up. And I'm gonna work out the rest.
I got the rest. I can just do your
I
part.
got the rest. Do
God,
your part.
do your part.
Absolutely.
I got to do over
Absolutely.
here. You just worry about you and do your part.
Right. Right.
So so brother, so you had the surgery
Mhm.
now you and now you are in a space where you're living your best life. It is what it is, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But there's a life after. So let's talk about it. So
Mhm.
you have the procedure and you already in the gym, but now you're even
Mhm.
more intensely in the gym. And we talked about this. So now it's more of the I've had that procedure, and this is the maintenance part of me doing my part
Mhm.
to stay to
Right.
stay on the right track. So let's talk about your life after since you've had the procedure, what you've done and what you're continuing to do to make sure that you are
Mhm.
your best self.
Absolutely. Every day, I give 100%. I understand that gym is a lifetime commitment for me. It is a lifetime. I will always be in the gym. I will never not be in the gym. That's me. That's one thing I realized after surgery. I will always, there's always somewhere else to go. There's always a new level, a goal to reach. And that's with not only the gym, but in life, period. So that's number one. And I'm not gonna lie, it's hard because body dysmorphia is a real thing. I will literally be in the gym, looking the best I've ever looked, seeing the muscles, and I would see a fat guy. I
Wow.
would see, this is a month ago, I would see a fat guy and totally feel unfulfilled, totally feel like I've done nothing, totally feel like I'm behind. So that's real, and you got to deal with that. And you got to make sure that you have the resources in place to help you with that. And you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be open to therapy. You got to keep therapy lines going. You got to keep friendships and relationships. Make sure those are healthy. Because and also you got to make sure that you are aware that you can slip back at any time.
Yeah.
I can go in, you know what I'm saying? I can slip back into my food addiction at any time. Any trigger can trigger that, and you got to be aware of those triggers, and you got to have a coping mechanism. Mine is the gym. I've got to get to the gym. Nothing hinders me unless it's a life and death situation. Nothing hinders me from the gym. That's mine. So you kind of just have to be a little selfish. And I think sometimes we are taught that selfish is a bad thing. but it's not always a bad thing. So I think life after VSG or after surgery, weight loss surgery, or after any type of transition is there has to be a level of selfishness that you must be able to maintain to be able to maintain that transition or that process.
I love how you said a couple things. You said you got to know your triggers, which I
Hmm.
feel like this is in life in general, but especially now, you got to know what your triggers are and selfishness that you must maintain. We, like you said, we get so focused on saying don't be selfish. At what point do I
Right.
take? But at what point do I stay in my own lane, take ownership of my life, and say I got to worry about me? What is the? I got to put me first, Lucius. I got to put me first. That meme of Cookie is going viral again after Empire is gone. It's serious. I got to put me first. What
Right.
am I doing to put myself first? And self care is a huge piece because self care is selfishness. It's just doing what you want to do. It's being in your own
Right.
bag. I don't want to do X, Y, Z. Sometimes I want to go to the gym and just go to the gym and just go home.
Right.
Let me be selfish. Like my grandmother would say, you got to be selfish in your walk with Christ. You got to be selfish in life, period. At this
In
point,
life period.
and worry about yourself. So I love how you said, you know, body dysmorphia is real. It's funny you say that. Um, I was binge watching the Real World Homecoming for the LA season with Tammy Roman, and so she was
Mm.
talking about how you just confirmed something she said about how bad body dysmorphia can be. She was talking about back in the day when the show was actually being recorded, how they were watching her wire her mouth closed and things like that,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And she was saying how I was doing things like that, like wiring my mouth so I wouldn't eat. I saw a fat person. I saw, and you're looking at Tammy like Tammy, you're
Hmm.
like this big, but no matter at what age, shape, or form we're in, body dysmorphia is real. Hell, I've dealt with it myself. I look at myself now, but when I look at
Hmm.
old pictures of the kid with the big braces and the big thick Charlie Jesse
Hmm.
Raphael glasses that looked a certain way, and I see myself now. I
Hmm.
still find myself, like you said, in the gym, seeing the fat person. I still see myself seeing that little scrawny kid looking like Steve Urkel.
Hmm.
That these are just things that we deal with in life. No matter how old we become, we still have that
Right.
flashback of who we were and who we used to be. So I love how you tackled and touched on that as well, brother. With regards to life after, like you said, I'm in the gym.
Hmm.
You made a comment last week where you even said, "Yeah, I'm in this place, but I have body goals as well. Like I have my own body goals even after the surgery." So I love how you said, "I'm still a work in progress. I'm still working on this
Right.
and working on that to be my best self." Because I'm not there yet, but I am definitely working on becoming a better individual across the board. So I love how you said that. We almost done, man.
Hmm.
Since you've done this, since you made this faith move to the DMD and you had this surgery, uh, let's go happy, warm, and fuzzy. How has life changed for the better? You're gonna hold
Life
this in.
has changed. Life has changed drastically. Number one, and the most important thing is it has changed how I see God.
Mhm.
I saw God I was raised to see God from a place of being fearful and being a God who just gives you a plight and you have to deal with it. And a God who has an expectation of you that is beyond your wants or ability. And I always remember David, he said, God will give you the desires of your heart. And I always challenge people with that. They say, well, God's not going to give you what you want. And God's not, I'm like, but David said, God will give you the desires of your heart. And I've learned to know that God, the God that will give you the desires of your heart. And that's number one. And then number two is I've come to find out who Kobe is. I've fallen in love with Kobe. I've fallen in love with what I want and who I'm becoming and who I am, and my worth, and my voice. I found my voice. Also, I've embraced friendships. You know, I was very closed off prior to weight loss surgery and not working on myself because of internal issues and past hurts and things of that nature. So just being able to uh, express love outside of myself is amazing. And of course, I've gotten in a relationship with a person, um, and I'm just grateful to God that I found this individual, and just so much has changed. So much. I live life without fear, because being 400, 300 pounds, being overweight, you live life in fear. Even to the when I would go on trips, I was not excited going on trips because I have to figure out and calculate when I'm going to ask for a seat extender without being embarrassed, or am I going to need a seat extender? Where they're going to place me, or if we go to a restaurant, are they going to sit us in a booth? And you have to calculate everything, and you live life in complete fear of the unknown. But I'm gonna tell you what was so liberating, and it's so small, but it's so liberating. Maybe a year or maybe a couple of months after my surgery, I was able to go to a store on my way to an event. Didn't have what I was going to wear, but I was able to go to a store, find my size, and put it on in the store and walk out in it.
Wow.
In my whole entire life, I've never been able to do that. I always had to go into the store to see what they had, go online because they never carried my size in the store. I've always wanted just to go into a store, see my size, go out and go where I'm going. I think because most people can do that, but that was just one of the most major accomplishments and major things that just changed my life forever. So just living life fearlessly has really been amazing.
So, brother, you are out here doing some amazing things. What's next for you, and how can the people keep up with you? Is there a support group coming up? I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, I am currently working on getting certified to be a trainer. I don't want to train without certification. I want to do everything correct. So
I want to be legit.
I want to be legit. So I'm working on doing that. That should be done by the end of May. So I'm working on that, and just working to be a better me so that I can help me and others and continue to be a voice for Black men who want to have the surgery, who want to transform, and things of that nature. So you can follow me at Sleeved and Bougie, Sleeved in Bougie, the N, on social media, on Instagram. But yeah, that's what's next for me. I want to write a book. I want to do a couple of things. So things are happening.
We're gonna talk about this book. I might be able to help you. We're gonna talk about this book.
Yes, I need the help.
Brother, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for pouring out. I just want to just say I'm thankful for the genuine connection, man. You are such an amazing individual and an amazing spirit. I'm just thankful to be connected to you. Thank you for taking the time tonight from your busy schedule to join me. This has been amazing. Anything I can do to support you, already know we're connected. I got you.
Absolutely.
This has been this week's edition of Dialogues with Doc with Colby Fair. Y'all keep up with him. Ask him questions. He's always pouring out good information. So just reach out to him. He's there to help. I will see you guys again next Wednesday for another amazing edition. Brother, let me close the show out and don't log out, okay?
All right. Thank you for having me, bro.
All right. See y'all next Wednesday. Hold tight.